tastes good. Yeah, so I'll just explain what those subs are. So, glutathione, I've talked about this a lot, but yeah, the most powerful antioxidant your body can produce, so it's a really good immunity supplement. Milo is ill right now, so definitely relying on this. And then, yeah, this is just creatine, but yeah, Elite Sup sent me this one. It tastes so good, blue slushy. Usually I have non-flavoured creatine, but this is so much better. So this is lemonade, that's blue slushy, and then I've got HydroFlow by Conte. So yeah, as you can tell, HydroFlow, so it hydrates you. So I usually use this on training days, but I've been using it on rest days now as well, because I just find like when I'm hydrated I can work better. You know, obviously your brain wants water as well. So yeah, this is mango flavour. So I've got mango, lemonade and blue slushy, and together it literally tastes so good. Especially when you're dieting, this is like a highlight of the morning. Oh, can't wait. It's not working. So, as you saw, I was pricking my finger. The reason being is I'm tracking my fasted blood glucose. Now, I don't know if, probably a lot of you have been watching my previous videos where I've been ranting about how my fasted blood glucose wasn't very good, and I was having to do walks, and I was doing cardio to help. It's good I still did that stuff, but I went and got my bloods done, and they showed, I had lots of things checked, and not because of that, because it wasn't too bad, but generally just because of just to see my health. And it gave me my hemoglobin A1C, which essentially, I believe, gives you a snapshot of your fasted blood glucose across 30 days. So it's way more accurate. And mine was literally perfect. So I was doing these thinking my blood glucose was bad, and it was literally perfect. And I spoke to AJ about it, and we were saying how like these things can be really inaccurate. So yeah, I should probably throw this in the bin. The reason I'm still doing it is because don't take the reading how it is, like just see how it changes over time, and you can get an idea if your blood glucose is improving or if it's getting worse, and how quickly it's getting worse or not. So it might be, maybe it's like whole 2 units wrong, but I can still understand how it changes each day, and that gives me an indication of how things are changing. But yeah, just to be aware that a lot of these are really inaccurate. So to check your blood glucose, the best way is to go and get your bloods done, which I know is a lot more expensive, but it will actually give you a proper indication. And still, regardless of my hemoglobin A1C being really good, I'm still glad I did all those things, because it probably was good because I did those things. And therefore it's like, it's not just a case of doing those things if your fasted blood glucose is bad, it's kind of like the things you need to be doing when you're pushing food in anyway. So yeah, not actually diabetic, which is good to know. Just to add, I forgot to say, but yeah, if you want these subs, go to Elite Sups UK. You can use my discount code PAL10, which will take some money off. But yeah, I definitely advise this one. Probably one of the most important supplements to use, because I barely ever get ill now. So like, I used to get ill all the time because I've had my tonsils out when I was like maybe 3 years old. So I used to get ill all the time. Since using this, it's helped a lot. If you don't get ill, you can train. If you can train hard all the time, that's what you want, right? What's up, guys? So today we're doing a full day of eating, and it's a bit different to the last full day of eating because I'm now dieting. So today I was 92.2 kilos. Peak off season I was 96.8 kilos, and that was 2.5 weeks ago. So it's flying off, which is good. And yeah, this is basically a in and out diet phase. It's not prep. I'm trying to pull off as much body weight as I can as quick as possible, essentially so I can get back to growing as soon as I can. And I'm literally just trying to get lean enough to grow again, not lean enough to step on stage. It's very different. So we'll actually talk a bit about that later on. So we'll actually talk a bit about that later on in the video. Just running through basically how to run faster diet phases. But you know, the main thing about this video is just showing you my setup for my diet today. Food's actually not that high at all, and it'll give you a good indication. I'm 2.5 weeks into this diet, so it gives you an understanding of how aggressive we've been. So yeah, we're going to do meal one now, and yeah, just show you basically my rest day. It's my rest day as well, so you'll see how low food gets. So meal one is Greek yogurt. This is 5%. So yeah, it's about 5 grams of fat in 100 grams of yogurt. So I get some of my fats from this. It just tastes a little bit better, to be honest, than the 0%. I'm not at that point yet where I need to have 0%.
Okay.
This reminds me of the prep days, having this. Oh shit.
Oh, so cute.
So peanut butter, 20 grams. Oh. So yeah, this is a really good meal if you're dieting because the volume is really high. So we've got 250 grams of 5% Greek yogurt and 15 grams of whey, and then 100 grams of raspberries, 20 grams of peanut butter. So it's, off the back of my head, I believe it's 22 grams of fat. It's, I guess, 35 grams of protein and 18 grams of carbs, something like that. It's quite sad I can just memorise macros at this point, but yeah, that's just roughly what it is. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm starving. It's like, what is it, 10 AM. I always fast. On rest days I always delay my first meal for a bit just because it helps with appetite through the day, and I quite like it. I think it helps for basically just giving the pancreas a little bit longer before your first meal. So yeah, but yeah, starving. So we've got meal number 2, which is, as you could expect, chicken and rice. But it is generally my favourite meal because it digests so well all the time. So you can't really complain. I have this pre-workout most of the time, and I also have it on my rest days. And it tastes good. You know, you can season your food. I've got like paprika, herbs, sriracha, all air fried broccoli and chicken, and it tastes amazing. So you know, you don't have to have bland foods. You can put sauces on even in a diet phase, because essentially you've got to understand like this: when we create a deficit, we pull the food away that we choose, so we take a certain amount of calories away. If I've been consistent with the sriracha before the diet phase began, which I was, taking that food away is still going to create that expected result. So essentially, I could probably have sauces like this throughout the entirety of prep if I'm not on prep, if I was on prep. So yeah, even the only time you'd worry about sauces maybe is if your food went really low, but that shouldn't ever be an issue. So you can have sauces in prep, and as long as you keep it consistent the whole time, even if that's 20 carbs of sauce, you know, that's completely fine, as long as you keep it consistent. And you're just smart as well, you know. If you're dieting on low food and then you're having 20 carbs of sauce, then that's when you might think, okay, maybe I'd rather have some actual food there. But ultimately, yeah, makes your food taste better. So yeah, 100% I would always put sauce on your food, always. So tough. What the fuck? It's because it's been like so cold in the fridge.
Fly out.
That would actually be really good content. Not true, but. Dual air fryers are a game changer because now it's cooking, I don't have to do anything. Got chicken and potatoes. So much easier. That's sad. I'm still eating it. 5-second rule. I think it's exceeded 5 seconds, but. Cool, so next meal, third meal of the day. We've got 200 grams of chicken, we've got like 230 grams of sweet potato, 50 grams of greens. So yeah, I really like sweet potato actually. It's a good, well, and white potato as well. You can get a lot of volume for pretty low carbs. So it's a good food source when you're dieting, in my opinion. I think sweet potatoes, white potatoes, for me they digest pretty well. It's just when you're in a growing phase it can be an issue because of how high, like if you have over 600 grams of potatoes in a meal, you're probably not going to digest it the best, in my opinion. So I'd only really have potatoes often when you're dieting, because essentially because it's such low carbohydrates for the amount, to get carbs high you have to have so many potatoes, and yeah, it just messes up digestion. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm actually really hungry. Air fried potatoes are looking pretty decent. Yeah, an air fryer is an essential if you're a bodybuilder, in my opinion, because you don't like I haven't put any olive oil on this, just fry light, and it's perfect. So yeah, it's pretty good. There's something else that I want to talk about now. Something a bit more serious is about my diet phase, and basically just trying to give you a good amount of information so you can take it home and apply it to yourself when you run a diet phase in a off season. So it's not a prep, and how you want to approach that. So my calories have gone down significantly. To give you a bit of perspective, my carbohydrates on my training days were 576 grams of carbs. I am 2.5 weeks into my diet. I am on 275 grams of carbs on my training day and 225 carbs on my non-training day. So a big drop. And the reason why we've done that is because when you are running a quick recomp, so for myself, we know that 10 to 12 kilos will get me into a very adequate position to grow from again. That isn't a lot of weight, so you can be pretty assertive, you can pull food down really quickly. When you don't want to pull food down quickly is when you've got loads of weight to come off. Well, there's two reasons. One is you've got loads of weight to come off, so you need to be resourceful with the food, because when you pull food away, your metabolic rate will slow down. And when that happens, you need to pull food away again and again and again, as you go through your diet. For some people, they have very adaptive metabolic rates, so the need to be resourceful with tools is even higher, because otherwise they're going to be on really low food really quickly. So that's the first reason. The second reason is if you are going all the way down into a very lean conditioning and you need to preserve muscle tissue as well as possible, because it's going to be assessed at the end of the diet, i.e. stepping on stage, a photo shoot or whatever it is. So with me, I know that once I'm out of this diet phase, any lost tissue, which hopefully is none, but if I did lose tissue, will come back on straight away, back into a surplus, back into it. So the goal for me is just simply making sure that the majority of my time is spent in a surplus across this off season. So I don't want to be dieting for longer than 12 weeks, and I only need to pull off 10 to 12 kilos. So essentially what I need to do is just pull food down pretty quick, get really aggressive with it, and allow for a fast rate of loss. I pulled off 4 kilos now, so 4.5 kilos. So it's working, and it will hopefully mean that I'm 2.5 weeks in. Maybe by 10 weeks I'm done, and that'll be amazing. And then I can just get back to a growing phase and can spend more time growing again across the next year before prep in 2025. So do not be scared to be pretty assertive of how much food you drop when you do these quicker diet phases and you want to get in and out. Only be slower when you know that you're probably going to have to pull off maybe above 15 kilos and you've got to really maximize performance retention throughout. So yeah, hopefully that's useful. Just want to talk about it a little bit. It's a very different diet phase. That's why my food is so low today and I'm starving. I'm not actually, but like I'm hungry. But yeah, essentially, in my eyes, when I see hunger, I see it as kind of a good sign that things are working. And this is nothing compared to prep. But it is just funny to see how quickly food went down and how little food I'm on already. It's just quite amusing. But you know, it is what it is. So yeah, hopefully that was useful. We'll get to see you in the next clip. So I'm just sending off my email to my email list. Some of you might be on it, but yeah, if you want to be part of my email list, just drop me a message on Instagram, adam.powell_, and I'll add you to it. Basically, these emails are just value. Like this email talking about when to know when it's the time to compete. So a couple of things that you would want to consider when deciding if you should compete or not. But yeah, all the emails are different, but if you want to be a part of it and receive some sort of educational emails from myself, just let me know, drop me a message and I'll add you to it, because I'm building up this list and I think it's pretty valuable to sort of give people some of my insights on training and nutrition and competing and so on. So yeah, just drop me a message on Instagram. If any of you watch my prep series, you'll know how into oats I was, cream of rice and just doing this. And I hated oats for ages and now they're back in. It's funny how it changes. So yeah, next meal, oats, dark chocolate, whey. Pretty simple, a classic bodybuilding meal. I feel like all my meals have been pretty expected, but yeah, usually I don't have this, like I said, but I'm gonna try it now. This is the first time putting it back in and I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think it's gonna be nice. Usually in the off season this would just be too much, but if you're dieting, this is a really good food source to have, especially if you're on prep. A lot of the time people like to say, oh, post-workout you should have fast acting carbs. When I have clients that are really close to their shows, I'll actually change their post-workout meal to oats, just because yeah, okay, it might digest a little bit slower, but the way it manages appetite and how it goes down and how it makes you feel for longer is so worth it. It gives you a nice steady release of energy as well. So yeah, 50 grams of oats, 30 grams of whey, 20 grams of dark chocolate. I can't be able to calculate the macros in my head right now, but yeah, we'll put up all the macros after the last meal. I used to sit here and prep and just wait for the dark chocolate to melt on top, but I can't be bothered to wait. But I'd literally just sit there, and then it will all be like a melted chocolate over the top, and you just spread it about, and yeah, so good. So we're finally outside getting some steps in. It's horrible weather and it's pretty late now, but yeah, I've just been working all day. It's classic, being an online coach, just work from home and just keep working. But I've got 3,000 steps to do. I've done 7,500 steps and I have to do 10k. And it is quite nice to get outside, even though it's not the best weather. I always find like a morning walk or an evening walk, it just helps a lot with sleep. Kind of sets your body clock, especially if you absorb blue light early in the morning, which I haven't done, but just some sort of walk, in my opinion, does help. So what we're going to do whilst I do these steps is answer a few questions, because I put a story up saying we'll answer some questions for this video. I'm not going to do loads, but I'll do a few. If your question isn't answered though, I really would suggest going to the birds on a mad one. Fucking hell. I would suggest going to MBW, Natural Bodybuilding Worldwide, because there's literally a log. You can ask any questions there, especially because I'm getting quite a few questions at the moment on volume, which splits to do, all this stuff. That can be answered at the site. So go to naturalbodybuildingworldwide.com, and yeah, you will not only just have me answering questions, but you'll have AJ, Ella, Keithy, Ben Howard, you know, all these top natural bodybuilders, Josh Krogan. Is that selling right? Are you Krogan or Krogan?
I don't actually know.
Alright, wait. We had Josh as well. So yeah, you can go there. But anyway, we'll do some. If this is not a fitness related one, but we'll do it. If I could be a superhuman, which one would I be and why? I definitely would be Superman, I think, just because of the ability just to fly around everywhere is pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, 100%. But anyway, so someone said, is it actually a bad idea? Well, does pre-workout 4 PM affect sleep? So, yeah, 100% it does. I wouldn't ever have pre-workout past 3 PM, to be honest. It depends on the person, but if you're taking like 350 milligrams of caffeine has a half-life of like 10 to 12 hours, something around that. So there's still a lot in your system when you go to bed. And you might think, well, I fall asleep anyway, but the caffeine will have a negative effect on the quality of sleep you're getting. So the amount of REM sleep, the amount of deep sleep. So I would advise to avoid that, to be honest. If you do train later in the day, have like a pump pre, so you can have something that is nootropic based. So things with alpha GPC is a really good supplement that can help you focus, but it won't take away from your sleep. It's not a stimulant. It's pissing it down, so we're going to just stop under a tree and answer these questions to protect Aaron's camera. But yeah, another one is cardio necessary in a bulk? If so, what are my general recommendations? So 100%, 2 reasons. Firstly, general fitness. So your ability to perform in the gym when you do your resistance training will rely on your ability to brace, to breathe at the right time. So when you do higher rep sets, like maybe a 15 rep set, you need to be fit basically. And as you get heavier, if you're pushing body weight up, which as you will know, I believe is very important, you want to be able to cope with being heavy, and the way you do that is by essentially doing cardio. Secondly, it improves insulin sensitivity. So basically, if you're burning blood glucose, so if you're bringing your blood glucose down, it's going to help a lot with insulin sensitivity. So you're going to use food better, so you're not constantly having to secrete insulin. That's really important in the growing phase, because you're having loads of carbs all the time. So if you use those carbohydrates better, that's a massive win. That will also mean better appetite and the ability to get food down. So what I'd recommend, in my opinion, I think the best cardio is a bike, because it's low impact. When you're heavy and you're doing Stairmaster or an incline walk, it's quite high impact on your joints, because you're constantly hitting the surface, whereas a bike is continuous, there's no impact. So I would suggest doing a bike. I would avoid doing it close to leg training. So basically, the day after leg training is best, just not close to before. So essentially, don't do it on the morning of leg training. You can probably get away with it doing it the day before, but it depends. If you're in a growing phase and you're bulking, like this question's asking, absolutely you're fine. But it's when you're dieting, you probably want to avoid doing cardio close to legs, because it will really mess with recovery more so. So as you saw, it was raining and it got way worse. There was no chance we were filming, so we actually just thought we'd do these questions inside, but it's still raining now. So this is a good question. How do you find balancing parenting and bodybuilding? So the way I look at it is, it does depend on the person. What I mean by that is, it depends on your work as well and the demands that takes from you. Because, for example, for myself, I'm an online coach. My career relies on my training, so it's obviously quite easy for me to go to the gym because that's part of my job. But if it isn't, then obviously things would have to change. Like if I had a separate job, things would absolutely have to change. And what I would stress, what I've learned from training, is that it's not always the case that more is better. You can grow doing 3 sessions a week. You honestly can. And you never want to set the demands too high for the client. So I have clients that, I'll ask them straight away, like, how many days a week can you train? If we need to back off and do less but better quality sessions, that's absolutely a good move. So if you are trying to balance, family life with training, just bring down the demands a little bit. Don't force yourself to be training 5 times a week. Maybe just do push-pull legs or upper, lower, upper, 3 sessions a week. The only issue with doing upper is that the sessions are a bit longer. So you could literally just do push-pull legs. As long as you're getting strong on those sessions and the quality is high, you will still grow. You really will. I think nowadays people think they have to train everything really frequently and that's it. Like, yeah, maybe it's a little bit better, but we're looking at the small margins here. So we'll do one more question. So in what time frame do you ease off heavy lifting when close to a comp? So when you're in a deficit and so on. And someone actually asked how I approach training during peak week. So it's basically the same question. So I honestly wouldn't actually ease off training much when you're close to a show. A lot of the time when I assess someone's physique based off training, I find that positive information from training, so the swelling you get from training, like when you train and you just feel like you've got more volume in your muscle, is really beneficial. And for some people that's a good thing, all the way into the show. Some people look better doing full volume leg training than backing off doing a devolume leg session. I myself am the same. I just find that all I'll do is on that leg session, I will just not take those 50-50 reps. I won't train to complete failure, and I know I won't do that on like the bigger movements, but I'll still keep like a decent amount of volume in. Some people, if they're carrying loads of fatigue, like if the diet was pretty harsh, you did lots of steps, fatigue was super high, then 100% I'd probably devolume the whole week, just because they need that massive drop off in stress. But it's a very person dependent thing, and it's not always the case of, oh, we devolume because it's peak week. That's a very trendy thing now, and actually it depends on the person. Assess the physique. Does your physique respond well to full volume training, having a slightly bigger, like fuller look from positive information, basically? So we started off the day with yogurt and we're finishing with yogurt, but this time it is a 0%, just because I'm a bit limited with the amount of fats I've got left in my macros. So yeah, what we've got is 250 grams of 0% yogurt, 17 grams of Perform Whey, the double chocolate one, which I would advise, like if you're going to get one on Perform, definitely get this one. Hands down, it is the best one. I've tried all the flavours, and on prep, I love the cereal milk and a few others, and they're really good. But the most reliable one in the off season, when you're bulking, and is also nice in prep, is double chocolate. Like this will see you through even when your appetite's low, in my opinion. So yeah, this is what I'm having. It just, in yogurt as well, it mixes perfectly, so it's really good. $20 grams of dark chocolate. It was 19, but doesn't matter. If I was on prep, I'd definitely make up that gram, but... So yeah, this is the last meal of the day, and yeah, one more thing to say about it is just it's perfect for the evening, it digests really well. So yeah, yogurt, protein, good way to finish the day. It's pretty filling as well. So that is my whole daily intake of food on a non-training day. So this is rest day food. So the lowest out of both meal plans. Well, it's not a meal plan, kind of is. I track my macros, have pretty consistent foods, but sometimes something slight will change. But yeah, what you can see is the food is not that high really at all for my body weight being 92 kilos. We're trying to chase a pretty aggressive rate of loss, and to show you how assertive we're being with pretty low food. So the macros for today fall at 225 grams of protein, 225 grams of carbs, and 60 grams of fat, which I'll quickly work out is 2,340 calories. So yeah, not that high at all. I mean, I've obviously dieted on much lower food than this, but for this body weight, very low, and considering I was on 4,300 calories 2.5 weeks ago, yeah, big drop. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. We're going to keep the content coming. If you have any ideas for videos, just let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed this slightly different video. There was no training involved, bit more different, seeing more the coaching side of things, more like day in the life stuff at home, my meals, all that stuff. But yeah, going to keep the content coming. Like and subscribe, all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next video. See you soon.